Hey y'all, it's Lita Monet, and I'm here with Trey, about to get into his mental health check-in. How you feeling?
I feel good.
Feel good?
I feel
Okay. Hopefully we feel better by the end of this mental health check-in.
Yep.
Why don't you let them know a little bit about yourself before we start?
Ooh, that's a good one. All right, so my name is Trey. Um, Born in Sacramento, California. Mom's and dad kind of split apart, so mom's moved out here to Detroit. Moved out here and been traveling like back and forth ever since. Got into boxing, became a professional boxer. Got into like a bunch of sports to kind of help me keep myself, level headed and just maintain. Um, but yeah,
Okay, we like that. Congratulations on being a pro boxer.
appreciate it.
At this moment, what would you rate your mental health? 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Honestly, I would say about a 7.5,
Okay.
but I could roughly give it an 8. I'm not gonna sit and say, I'm going through the worst and just like have, mental breakdowns every second on the second.
Mhm.
Uh, I went through that phase in my life, childhood wise, where it kind of built me mentally, so a lot of what I deal with or may go through is nothing really new, or I know how to overcome it
Mhm.
um way easier because I've dealt with childhood trauma already.
Okay.
So as a man, I become more stronger and not just stronger, but I become more accustomed to it.
Mhm.
So I know how to deal with a lot of stuff mentally and just, know how to direct my energy elsewhere to not so much put so much energy into that could leave me derailed. So I think a good solid 7.5 to 8. That's
Okay.
where I'm at.
I like that answer. I appreciate you going in depth too. I like those type of answers that just go and flow with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So to go into it, you touched on it already, but the first topic in my journal is childhood trauma. So to go into this, how was it growing up?
Ooh. All right. It wasn't the best. We come from poverty. People of my color, we come from poverty. A lot of things are not paved easily for us. And I was the kid, who had a lot of talent. My mom's, she used to take us to like karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she taught me how to dance, taught me, how to draw and all of these things, right? And so that became something that I was just like a sponge to. And, you know, early 90s, like elementary, middle schoolish, I got picked for those things.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from that, going home, being bullied, going to school, being bullied, uh, I didn't really have like the best childhood. So those things of what I learned kind of kept me puzzled. It kept me together. And I seen that people, they never liked that about me. It's like, yo, how is it out of 10 kids, this guy is able to keep his head cool, and zone out and be so good at almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
I never liked it. Didn't have like the best attire, best wardrobe growing up. So I would have to go to school, with the worst wardrobe and get picked on. Um, Used to get bullied. That was like the worst part. That's what really stirred up boxing.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to protect myself and defend myself. 7 sisters, so I had to learn how to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And me being the second oldest, everybody looked up to me. Uh, so my childhood, it was like the worst, but I'm thankful for my childhood too.
Yeah.
Because if I never went through any of those adversities, then I wouldn't be who I am today.
Absolutely.
I am, you know, a stronger individual, talented, never gave up on anything that I was doing that I got bullied for. When I got put down before classes and before people of being different, now it's become something that everyone gravitates to. They're looking for professional dancers. They're looking for boxers. They're looking for artists,
Mm-hmm.
poets, and etc. And those are things that I've held on to, developed, created a strong muscle to where it's like now the table's turning. Now these people who looked and laughed at me as a kid have nothing going for themselves.
Right. It always turned out
You
like
know,
that.
and now I'm the guy who was able to travel state to state, paid for, getting paid to do what I
Mhm.
love. Rather it's art gallery, rather it's boxing, rather it's, entertaining. These are like the qualities, the things that I embellish, the things that I love most, and can define who I am.
Yeah.
Without those things, it'd be hard to define who I was coming from that background.
Mhm. I love that. What is a memory that you have from your childhood that stands out? It can be good, it can be bad, but what stands out the most?
I love this one. All right, so this goes with divine purposes. Um, I almost died at 13, and I bled out. Swinging around this clothesline pole, hook went in my right or my left hand, uh, ripped everything, and I bled out. And I woke up like the next day at home, but me being in the driver or in the passenger seat or the back seat, I hear my mom's like, "Don't let him go to sleep."
Mhm.
And my oldest brother, he slapped me, he's trying to keep me awake. But everything was just so numb, I couldn't feel anything. Like I was drifting peacefully.
Mhm.
Everything else, like I was looking at about that much life, everything else around it was like coke white. And the circle began to close, smaller and smaller. And it was the weirdest feeling because it was peaceful. Like here it is. I'm about to take my last breath. And my mom was telling me like, yeah, they were saying that you were lucky to be alive. You were bleeding out, and I was bleeding out bad, and that's like that childhood that keeps me in remembrance that I'm favored.
Mhm.
I have a purpose. I could have been gone then, but I still hang on to that, and I can look at it as like this is my purpose. Like every person,
That's your
every child.
scar?
Yeah, this is my scar. I
Let me
tried
sh
to tattoo over it,
Mhm.
like it's really, and it almost hit the artery. It like grazed the top of it, but again, every child has that trauma, that one thing that they
Mhm.
look and say, "This is why I'm alive. This is why my story will be powerful and impactful." So when I look at this, it's like, yo, I know it's not meant for me to check out no time soon, you
Mhm.
know, because like he's blessed these hands to do everything that I'm good at, which is again drawing, boxing, poetry, and art. Without these hands, it wouldn't be able to define who I am because all of those things
Mhm.
are me 100%, and I've taken time over the years to develop in each skill that I know how to do.
I love that. Let me see. I want to see if I want to stay in childhood trauma because I feel like
Come on, I could talk.
everybody
Come on,
can
talk to
everybody
me.
can just keep going with it.
Yeah, talk to me.
What is something you wish you had more of as a child? Mhm.
I wish I had more of my pops. Um, I wish I had more of my pops. My pops, he was a character from what I can understand,
Mhm.
you know. And man, I got back in touch with him at what 13, and I would hear him over the phone and telling all these stories like, "Yeah, bro, I'm gonna get you in boxing. You're gonna be my meal ticket out."
Not
I
your meal
miss
ticket.
yeah, like
Okay then.
that's who he was. Though he was a character,
Mhm.
but I didn't know he used to box himself. So when he
Oh.
found out that I boxed,
Mhm.
it's like, oh snaps! This is like my twin. But my mom just always say, just like your daddy, you're sneaky, just like your daddy. And I'm like, well, who is he? And she'd always say, God's your daddy. And I'm like, I'm sneaky like God. Like, that don't make sense. And years later, I get back in touch with him, and I meet him, and it's like, yo, the best feeling ever.
Mhm.
I'm like, yo, this is what I missed out on. 17 years, this is what I missed out on? Oh, snaps. The best feeling. Found out he loved cars, found out he loved boxing, found out they all knew how to flip. And I'm like, yo, this is where I get it from?
Mhm.
You know, like that side of the family are all like energetic, lively. So that one thing I wish I had more of my pops. And I said this before, like, I lost him, then I
Mhm.
found him, and then I lost him for good this time. And that's like one of the things that kind of plays, in my head just on rewind.
Yeah.
Because again, it took me years to find him. And then when I found him, now he's gone forever.
Yeah.
But not to kind of derail the conversation, but yeah, that's what I wish I had more of.
I love that. Cause I remember when I met you, your poem was about your dad, right? And it was like it was captivating. Like it was like, oh, okay, like you
It's
don't
just
see a lot of men talking that like fluently and eloquently about how they pain is and how they get to where they get when they are healing. Like you don't see it. You see people like, oh yeah, I just got right back to it. I got some money. I did this. I channeled something else somewhere else. You was talking like every stage of grief. And that's what like made me really reach out to you.
the poetry actually hit me, but the poem actually came out of nowhere.
Mm,
Like normally, like when I start a line, then they just start feeding off each other. But I'm more impactful with words. I'm always like I used to participate in spelling bees growing up. I'm fascinated with words.
mm,
My mom used to write books. She still writes to this day. So that part, I stemmed off of from her. So the story came from because the Bible says I am, right? He says God is I am, etc. Right? And so I was like, I wonder what would happen if I could tell this poem, um, or recite this poem from a perspective of anxiety and what it is that I'm dealing with. So it says I am anxiety or I am, etc. Born 1993, you know, and again it was just like telling that from a point of view of I am anxiety. I'm about to tell you everything about how I own Trey,
mm-hmm.
how I, you know, watched him get picked on, how he would never come out of what he's dealing with because I am the person who has this chokehold on him that would keep him shackled and bound to everything that, every black people struggles to get out of. Every black person, excuse me, struggles to get out of. So the ending where it says I am, no, I am Trey, born March, 17, 1993,
Mm-hmm.
and brought into a world full of, joy because everybody praised me when I was here, I'm sure. So I am not the person who, anxiety or stronghold or, anything negative tries to put over me. I am not that person. I am the person who everybody looks up to. I am the person who comes from the gutter and built myself to who I am today, giving me the strong character that I have. That when people look at me, they say, "Yo, we see a light in you." I remember I was talking to God one day and he said, "Many are called, but few are chosen." This is what the Bible said. And he said, "But I chose you." And I was like, "What? You chose me?" And now every time I get blessed with something, he said, "Don't you remember when I said that many are called, but few are chosen, but I chose you?" And I'm talking about nonstop blessings. Like, yo, so the devil can't have me. Any negative forces that's around can't have me because I don't
Mm-hmm.
belong to them. If God said, "Yo, I chose you," then I mean He single-handedly chosen me out of the millions of people on this earth who are called. And there's a million people who are called who has a purpose where you can look at them and say, "Yo, that guy's walking life. He's walking life. Y'all can't touch that." No matter what I
Absolutely.
do to try to knock that guy down, this guy just won't fold. He
Mm-hmm.
sees me coming.
And people hate that.
They hate it.
They hate that. But I like how you went into that. You went on that from that. Even with me just bringing up that poem, because when I tell you, I was just like, oh shit, like okay then. It's like I look into your support systems now because you going through all of that. It had to be somebody there keeping you grounded. No dad, mom, sisters, siblings. Like who is somebody that really like helped you stay grounded?
Uh, Here's the thing. So my family out here, right?
Uh huh.
We all have like different fathers,
Hmm.
right? 10 kids. We all have different fathers.
Okay.
Mhm. They've never made contact with that side of the family, right? So because they don't know my family from the West Coast, right?
Hmm.
And I'm out here dealing with it. So how can I have anybody that says, "Yo, how are you doing?
Yeah.
You holding up fine?" It's something that I had to literally deal with on my own.
Hmm.
I would get random calls from my sisters and them every now and again, but it's to heal their grieving process because again, I'm the big brother. So now I have to, it's all right, it's all good, we're gonna push through this, etc. Yeah, we know what happened. But I have to deal with it on
Hmm.
my own. They have a whole support system out there for themselves to help each other and come around and be around the family. This is why I travel to and from to
Yeah.
try to get whatever little support that I can get from to being out there compared to being out here. Out here is just like, yo, you got only your gifts to worry about right now. That's the only thing that could channel your energy on another realm of not thinking so hard about it.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got the call, it was disturbing because
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I don't doubt it.
They did what? Yeah, they just killed your daddy. What? How do you? It's like 12 at night. Like,
Yeah,
I'm chilling.
how do you grasp that?
Yeah, like,
With like nobody around you.
cause I'm not up the street from them, so I can't get there how I want to. You know, I was like, dang. And it took everything in my willpower not to do nothing that I was gonna regret that night.
Yeah.
So where the next day I'm like, yo, I gotta go sit in the church. I gotta go sit in the church. This is the only place that I know that heals spiritually when times are tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there and the pastor was talking on it, but they didn't know that I was going through it. But he was talking to and saying that you're lucky that you woke up today. You're lucky that you didn't receive a phone call and your pop's dad, died and etc. And I'm like, yo, how's he talking to me without knowing me?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I said, this is the place to be. This is the place to be. So the support system is, I didn't have much going through. Like even now, like how,
Yeah.
it's more so what I do to support myself. Like my gifts are supporting me. That's what's helping me get through it,
Mm-hmm.
realistically speaking, you know? But if I was out there, it'd have been a different story. I'd be entertained by what's around me, consumed by alcohol, being, just sitting there in one spot, just allowing it to consume me, which I'm glad I'm out here. I'm glad that my gifts are able to distract me from, the negative thoughts. Because again, I have none of, like, I'm more, how can I say it, disciplined out here
Okay.
because
All
I'm
right.
not around it a lot,
Yeah.
you know? But them out there, not to speak bad, but that's all they know, you know? Stuff get hard, they go straight for the bottle. They go straight for weed. That's not me. That's not who I am, you know? So I didn't like it's not I would say like on a 100% scale, like I had to break down the percentage, I'll say probably like the 2.5, 3%. And it's just really odd. That's the reality of it.
Okay. Then we need to find you a support system. We
Now
gotta
like
get you more people.
here's the thing, like
But honestly, since I feel like you are into church, like do you find that being your support system, like, because when you answer the question, you say I ain't got nobody, but then you go into it and you be like, well, I got my gifts. I went to church after this phone call. Like that's your support system. Yourself is your support system. So it's like, what else can you ask for with your support system if you cool with how it is now?
when I hear support system, I hear of, I envision friends,
Mm-hmm.
plethora of friends, somebody
No,
could
that's
call like
that's
that. Like
not.
that's what I hear.
Yeah.
But I can definitely,
My support system is people that truly believe in me. So that's probably not always my family and friends. That's people like you that come and do this talk with me. This is my support system because like it's other people backing it up. It's not always a bad negative idea coming in my ear or me in my room like, oh, nobody's supporting me. It's somebody that you can pick.
right.
And it could be a stranger. You could have been like all my followers.
Yeah. But that's why I said 3%. My gifts, the church, and me. Like, there you go.
But then you backed it up and said, well, it's just me. It ain't just
I
you.
mean, well, I'm not even gonna rebuttal, but
No, don't
I'll
rebuttal.
agree.
You already
No,
said it.
I won't rebuttal, but I will agree to what you're saying. Even if I didn't understand it wholeheartedly, you gave me clarity and more of an understanding. Because again, my thought was the support system, was it 1,000 people supporting you? Nah, girl. You know what I'm saying? It was just me, the ones that, like, but yeah, I understand it now though. So yeah, you cleared it up. She cleared it up. All right.
All right, we gonna go into dating.
Okay.
Because dating, it do mess up your mental health a little bit. And I don't know if you do it or if you have felt it, but what was your first heartbreak like?
Oh, girl, don't laugh. I'm gonna go
How you gonna
back
tell
up.
us don't laugh and you
No,
laughing? I
no,
wanna
I
laugh.
know, but look, all right. This is when, this is when catfishing used to be real.
You got heartbroken by a catfish?
Yeah.
Go into it. Go into
And I'm vulnerable to say this. I don't care. Like I'm vulnerable.
Go into it.
All right, listen. So I met this chick, right? I think this is when Facebook became like the real deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was young. We was young. And, we would have like late night conversations, like talking, right? Like, and it was like a year or two that I was talking to this girl, right? And I've never seen her, but she like, yeah, I stay in Vegas. I'm like, oh snap, I got people where I was. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming out to the city, right? I get out there, just so I've been visiting, hit her up like, yo, I'm out here, what's up? And I show my pops. And my pops like, well, see, she got a mama. And I'm like, I bet. So I show him the picture, and he say, blood, that ain't her. It ain't even raining in Vegas. He said, look at this. I said, huh? I said, no, this gotta be her. The 2 years I've been talking, this gotta be her. I'm talking about I went out and bought some jewelry for her, right? And I
Ooh.
had plans on meeting her, right? Kept spending me. I'm like, yeah, FaceTime me. I can't let you do that. Huh? Yeah, I can't let you FaceTime me. I'm doing this. Every time was an excuse, right? But again, I ain't thinking nothing of it. I'm like, shoot, I'm talking to a female right now, right? It's gotta be real. They ain't never played me. You know what I mean? Like, how me? And yo, house get broken into. They stole the jewelry or whatnot. So I tell her, I'm like, yeah, I'm about to come see you. I was like, you gonna come get me? She like, yeah, we about to come get you. Pack a bag. Bro never came to get me. Left me on standing by for 24 hours. My pops like, blood, I'm telling you, she fake. Man, I just so happened. She like, hello, my boyfriend beating on me or my ex beating on me or whatnot. I'm like, how? So I call her mama. I'm like, yo, your
She
daughter
had
getting
her
beat.
mama number?
Yeah, because she used to call out her mama. You know what I mean? But look, so I'm like this, like, yeah, your daughter's supposed to be in the room getting beat on with, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she like, huh? Who beating on my mother ever daughter? And I'm like, yeah. So she hung up. So the girl came back like, why would you call my mama and tell her I was getting beat on? I'm like, man, I thought it was serious. Like, you know what I mean? So I just so happened to see her real page on my face, like come up on my Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Now her profile was like this light skin, because I got a thing for like chicks that look like Alicia Keys. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's what she kind of resembled. Man, this girl was big as I like doors. I was like, no. I was heartbroken. The mama was bigger than her. I was like, no. The skinny picture that the mama sent to my pops wasn't even her. I was like, yo,
So
what
the
is
mama
this?
was in on the catfishing too.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, you got your heart broke for
Got
real.
the double whammy, but it was bad because I'm like, yo, I'm done with this, yo. Like, so I always have my guard up, like, it was just like one of the things. Because my mom's kept me sheltered, you know what I mean? So she always taught us, like, yeah, find you a lady with standard, always have high standards.
Uh-huh.
Be as shallow as you can be picky, and ain't nothing wrong with that. So I'm like, yo, bet. So I've always been this shallow one that's just like, yo, okay, she look like she got something going for herself. Let me make my approach. And man, that was the worst lineup ever, yo. Man, that was the worst line. If I can go back and just, man, I ain't
Where is
lying.
Neve when you need him?
I don't know.
You needed that episode.
I'm trying to find out where he was too. Let me know where that nigga was. It was
I'm
out of
sorry.
pocket. It's
You can't tell us not to laugh
Nah,
for this.
I don't tell nobody that. That's why. Y'all like the only ones I told. But again, I'm gonna be vulnerable, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't tripping. Niggas gonna laugh about this, but I ain't
Well,
tripping. Like,
2 years
yeah,
not
two,
seeing
2
nobody.
years. Yeah. My
And
mom
then they
just said,
rob you?
yeah.
They
No,
had
they
to
didn't
rob you.
they didn't rob me. Like I
They
went through
had
a
to
home
break into your
invasion.
stuff.
No, look, we went to a home
It was him.
invasion. You think so? Let me find out. Let me find out. But it was bad, yo. My mom's like, you gonna look sharp. You gotta go get your haircut. You gotta look good. I was like, and she was prepping me for it. I'm like, yeah, mom's the one. How you know? I've been talking to her for 2 years. Did you see it? Nah. It's gotta be right, right? I'm so right. That's how it was. Yo, got played. I was like, oh, I ain't like that. Oh, I was heartbroken for weeks. I was calling her. She was blocking my calls, and it was that bad.
Dang.
Yeah, I was heartbroken. That really fucked me up.
I'm sorry you went through that.
Nah. Cause as a kid,
No,
how
like
do
I'm
you
so
like?
sorry you went through that, cause it's like I know how I feel to get like a little attached. Like you had a routine going, probably good morning, good night, how your day
Oh,
going.
this was
You
at the
know,
time where we used to play the Tyrese on the radio, the music on the phone.
and
Like, yo,
like,
listen,
gosh,
that was
yeah,
that
you
time
was
frame.
heartbroken.
Like, she like, oh,
Damn.
that's for me. Space, don't let it be like a breakup or something. And you get to leaving voicemails with the song playing in the
This is some nostalgic times right now. This is that was a really good intro question to dating, because I don't think you dating no more, right? Like, it's hard for you to date right now because of that. Like, do you keep that in your head?
Here's the thing, like, I keep it cordial. I keep it like friendship type.
Do you actually go on a date first?
No,
No.
I don't. Like, I literally like.
So you don't see people in person still?
No, like I just do me. I
Okay.
do me, and we just go with the flow of things. Like
Online still?
no, fuck that.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh,
Like, have
no,
you seen the
fuck
people
that.
okay, cool.
Fuck that. I learned that shit when I was a kid.
Okay, cool. As long
Glad
as
I
we
learned it then. You
okay,
know,
as long as we got past that, we're
if I was
good.
a grown man still searching for women online and being catfished, oh, somebody need to take my phone at that point.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, you know, we
I
go
think
through
you should
this.
do a civil lawsuit for emotional distress, because that was a lot to unpack.
Real name. That's been
Don't know
up.
her real name.
Yeah,
All right, next question. I'm so sorry you went through that.
We vulnerable, right?
I know we are very vulnerable. I'm not judging.
How you say it?
We listening, we don't judge. I'm not judging. I'm really sorry you went through that, because she deserves a real good spot. A real good spot in hell for that. You was sending her money?
No.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Cool. Cool.
We don't do that now.
All right, because you was buying jewelry, so I had
For
to
the
make
first time,
sure.
no. For the first time, no. For the first time, no.
Okay,
Rapping
cool.
again.
Whew. You growing.
For real.
You growing.
For real. Like, these are things, because yeah, you got to think. We don't learn these things when you sheltered by our moms. You know what I'm saying? We don't learn these things. But if I had my father figure growing up, there wouldn't have been none of that online dating. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think my childhood would have been a bit different. You know, but again, you know, I'm thankful that I was brought up by my mom.
Yeah, we
She
like
kinda
that.
kept
We
me-
like that.
Because I know how to tap into like that, not saying like feminine side, but when it comes to like treating women, like I have that genuine side where it's just like, I know how to treat them, you know, compared to like being so rough with them and just holding on to the masculinity all the time. Like, now I know how to let my guard down, you know, but now, you know, I kept it up since.
Okay, yeah. Clock it. What are some characteristics that you have that self-sabotage your relationships?
I have too many pet peeves.
You picky. You got that standard up there still. You got that up there. Okay.
Very.
What's some non-negotiables that you have when it comes down to dating? Yeah.
I don't know. Like I wouldn't know how to answer that right now.
Okay. Well, what's the pickiest thing that you was just like, oh no, I'm falling back?
Like here's the thing. I'm super picky. Like, if your hair isn't done.
Okay. Non-negotiable.
Yeah, like if you don't have a job, like I'm one of these type people. Like, what are your goals? What's your outcome? If we get together right now, how can we fall back on each other when times get hard? Who's gonna support who? Are you gonna leave when times get up, you know, tough? Are you gonna build like are we gonna build whatever it is that we see together? Or is it like, nah, he got all the money, I'm gonna just kick back and freeload? You know? And nah, like a woman gotta have some type of independency, which is a good thing though, you know. But I don't target women and just be like, nah, I don't like that. You know, it's nothing like that. Like, I give support to women who is even trying. You know, just me genuinely, like, I don't mind picking up pieces where I feel like a woman could, you know, be absent at. Like, as far as like hypothetics, a woman may not know how to fill out a job application, right? Because she was never taught. I'm just speaking hypothetics. I teach her how to do that, right? That becomes something that she learns. How to start a business, how to start an LLC, how to, you know, do these things rather than saying, oh man, that bro don't know how to do this, that bro don't know how to do that. Like, nah, I would be, you know, be the person who would say, yo, let me show you the ropes real quick. Let me show you this. Let me show you the ins and outs. Let me show you how to make a quick bag real quick. Let me show you how to, you know, you want to start a hair salon. Let me, you know, show you all the necessities that's going to help you benefit. Even if we depart right now, I want nothing to gain out of it. What was taught is for you to take as a life lesson and say, yo, I've learned a lot from that guy who I dated before. And it helped me, you know, to be able to prepare for the next person. You know, so that's how I am. Like, when it comes to like dating, I'd rather pour into, you know, and if they reciprocate that, that's cool. That's a bonus, but more importantly, like I would just rather, because that's who I am. Again, my mom's taught us the qualities of how to treat women.
Yeah.
So those things are things that I watched her do for us. 7 girls, yo, gotta be some type of support over women,
Yeah.
and that's just how it is.
Okay, yeah.
I probably didn't answer that the right way. I probably got to do real, but just stir me on track if I do real, because sometimes I can talk too
No,
much,
because once you in it,
Like I do a
I'm
lot of,
listening.
like I do a lot of talking, so you just gotta like, yo, get back on track now. You know
No,
what I mean?
this your moment. Just answer the question.
All right,
Or just
all right.
do you feel like you not having a two-parent household at a time had a disadvantage in your dating pool?
Yeah,
Mm.
and the reason I say that is because sometimes, I don't know, like I feel like when you watch a married couple come in together, those are like, things that you want um going into your relationship, right? But me, it's more so like I'm like mad picky. I'm like mad picky. But my
Mhm.
mom's taught me that. My pops could have probably taught me something different,
Yeah.
but I don't know that because I don't know what he could have taught.
Mhm.
You know, hypothetics. I'm not speaking bad about him or anything. My pops could have taught me how to like dog women or whatever, and that could have been my mentality. You know, so the fact that they're not together and grew up apart, I get two different point of views on how to treat women.
Mhm.
Soft and sensitive, be hard, like be tough, be masculine. You know, but if they were together, it could have been like I don't know what it could have been. I don't know. My mom say, "Yo, I don't want you to meet him because he's a drug dealer. He's all of these things." So therefore, how would their relationship would have been
Mhm.
if I was involved in it? Could have been he tried to take me from her. Could have been the other way around, as if it was so. Like I don't know.
You're right. Okay. We're gonna hop into our last topic, which is forgiveness. And I like to touch on forgiveness because I feel like when it comes into healing, you need it to like really reflect on yourself, the situation, whoever it is, but like it's more so for you.
Mm,
So to go into it, if you could write a letter to anybody, who would it be?
I'll write a letter to my oldest brother. Yeah.
Why would it be your oldest brother? If you don't mind me asking.
The reason I say that is because like I see where he's at. Um, and I don't want to speak too much on it,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I would just tell him to do better, be better, be as dope as he could be,
Mhm.
because I see the potential in him, and I see his possibilities of being who he wants to be, but he can't escape where he's at. He can't escape his environment. Um, some crucial things were said, a couple of years back, but I've forgiven him. So if you're talking about forgiveness, that really like sticks to me like every time. Like although we're like this, it's just no matter how much I help, that one thing always just is right there. Like
Mhm.
he did say this, but it's like I can't hold the grudge against it. But it's just like if I would really write that letter, I would just tell him like, yo, do better. You know what I mean? But yeah. Cause I look up to my older brother.
Mhm.
I look up to him. And no matter how much we've been into and got into, like, that's my dog, but some things I just don't agree with them. Which I wish that he could turn himself around. Like he has a lot of potential, but I'm not gonna say it's wasted potential, but you know.
Just do a little better.
Yeah, cause
That's
that's
all
my
you gotta
dog,
do
yo.
is
And
just do a little
I
better.
hate
And you
like
can't force people to want to do better. You can kind of nudge them, but you
but
can't make them do it.
it's like one of those things, right? Like it's much potential because like my whole family is gifted. We all talented as fuck, you know. And I don't know. I don't want to be the person who just scales everybody and nobody and then you get to that point where it's like, yo, we see he's doing a lot of this, but he won't come back for us. Because then it's like, then I would start feeling a formal way of, dang, like, y'all resent me or
Mhm.
y'all go against me because I'm the only person that's trying or, and again, I've been the one who's been bullied for this my childhood. Part of him, you know?
Mhm.
The reason why I was bullied. And it's like seeing where I am at now, like seeing where I'm at now, the tables literally has turned. And I hate to see it.
Mhm.
I hate it because it's like, yo, y'all did this to me. And the table has literally turned where all my enemies are at the other end of the table. And they're watching this guy. It's like, yo, how is it that this guy does all of these things? I'm gonna brag a little bit. Dance with Chris Brown backup dancers. Music video with Kevin Gates.
Ooh,
Photo shoot with Tory Lanez. Kicking it with 50 Cent.
not the truck.
Loving hip hop trend. Like, these are all of my
I was say keep
accolades.
popping it.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, keep popping.
all of my accolades, kicked it with a king worth of $500 million, like, and personally invited to come back out to talk with them.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, it's the night before everybody had to go through the security to get to him. And he single-handedly picked me back out of everyone who showed up to come and sit down with me.
Mhm.
So if that ain't a light of God saying, yo, I should let him move him, because I chose him. Again, I chose him, so he has VIP access wherever he goes. VIP access. Like, my accolades speak for themselves, you know. And I tell people, like, don't get it, messed up. I'm like, yo, I'm really him, and I don't brag about it, but people don't know. I always say, like, people just don't know who I am,
Mhm.
but I'm really him. Like, I'm him. That's just what it is. You mean to tell me this nigga got all this access? A
Mhm. They
nigga from
hate
the
it.
hood,
I'm
like
telling you, they hate it.
a nigga from the hood can go to Miami and be good. Just gotta call you like, yo, you want to be in Bad Boys 4? What? And they could, hey, pay good money too, you know. So again, the thing that they picked on me about has now become something that I flourished in.
Right. Y'all better be careful who y'all be out there being mean to, bullying,
I'm
speaking
still
badly
him.
about. Okay. Clock it. All right. So, why do you feel like letting go is hard?
Ooh, because it's become a drug and addiction. That's why.
To stay as a victim or
Well,
what?
nobody wants to let go of anything.
Mhm.
It's become it's a leech at this point. It's hard to get off. It's hard to burn off. You can't get rid of it.
Mhm.
That thing will continue to consume you and weigh you down, no matter how much you try. Until you say, you know what, I'm gonna do it, no matter how hard it's gonna take. For me to let go of this thing. And when you let it go, it's sometimes still there, and you still reach for it. You still find yourself falling victim to the thing that that you want to let go or that you get rid of.
Mhm.
Nothing is hard, like, or easy. We're all humans that fall victim to drugs and dirty money and everything, but again, it's not it's not easy letting go of shit, yo. No matter how you put it.
Absolutely. Mhm.
I had to let go of a lot of people. And when I didn't do that, I was the nigga on the other end of the bullet, just like, what you gonna do, nigga? It's like, hold on now.
Uh-huh.
All because I didn't, cut you off. Right arm almost got amputated. Punched somebody in the mouth. And all because I never let him go. And the situation unfolded where I confronted him. I'm old school. I'm not gonna go to nobody else about it. I'm not gonna talk behind your back. I'm gonna confront you face to face. That's how we settle things as men. And we're gonna take it there, and we're gonna take it there. And then I hear my spirit say, I told you to let him go. I was in the hospital for a whole month. This thing was about to get chopped. And I was like, God, why this happened to me? And he said, because I told you
You
to
ain't
let him
let
go.
go.
And here it is. I'm like, all because of that one. Like, I just said, I don't want to let go because I knew this guy for like 8 years. I
Mhm.
looked at him, like my brother. Shit, we travel everywhere together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was like them ones that you couldn't see apart. Like, that was my dog. And when I didn't let him go, here it is. I'm in the hospital for a whole month, walking around with a PICC line that ran inside, from here all the way into my heart to flush out all the bacteria for another month or two. This guy walking free, just with a busted lip.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it taught me a valuable lesson.
Fuck around
When
and
you
fuck
gotta
up.
let some shit go, don't hesitate, because that shit will backfire. You know, like for real, it will backfire, and you'll be sitting in a position or a place where you like, man, I should have just did this. You
Yeah.
know, and we fall victim. Like again, we fall victim to it, yo. It's like getting, like retaliating to somebody and hearing that conscious thought say, no, don't do that. That wouldn't be the smart move. And you avoid it and you say, no, I'm going to do it anyways. Now, guess what? That 5 seconds of you committing that crime just landed you life in prison or life in the grave, you know? So, to go back to your question, that's how I feel about that question that you asked me. Because I forgot how
You
you
answered
asked it,
it.
but
You
yeah, I
answered
just
it.
had to put a little spadazzle on it. Not like, radazzle, but spadazzle.
I like your answers. I ain't gonna lie.
Appreciate you,
I
yo.
like your answers.
Appreciate it.
But we're gonna wrap up this mental health check-in.
Mm-hmm.
And for our last question.
The last question.
Last question. What would you forgive yourself for?
Not graduated. I say this all the time. I was gonna be an architect. Yep. I was one of the coldest artists in my school.
Mm-hmm.
Coldest at a young age. Here it is, I'm doing 3D prints of buildings and cars, and they're like, yo, who's this kid? Telling my mom, yo, like, when he come out of here, he's gonna have a full ride. But because I could get into so many fights, folks trying to bully me in and out of high school, and I went to Cooley first my freshman year, and Cody, like, 10th grade, and it was just like nonstop fights.
Mm-hmm.
Got my first gun pulled on me freshman year. Yeah, it was bad. So if all I was doing was fighting, how was I gonna ever graduate? How did I ever see the potential of being something better or bigger? Especially if it wasn't, forced.
Yeah.
Saying like coming from my family or support or anything like that, saying, yo, I think you should just keep going. Just keep going. Don't give up. And seeing where I could have been, I know I could have been way further than where I am now. Because when I dropped out of school, I had to learn from the streets, which is like having like a street mentality to hustle for every dollar rather than just having a regular 9 to 5 that was going to pay more than was paying in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like like I talk about that to this day. Like when I talk to myself sometimes, I just be like, yo, nigga, you should have just graduated. Like I'm 32 years old now. Like I dropped out because I kept fighting.
You 32?
32.
You don't look like it.
That's water. That's what happens when you stay active.
Would you go back and did you go back and get your GED, or do you want to go back
I
and
went
get
back,
it?
but I took the cheap way out,
Uh-huh.
and I don't call it fair.
Okay.
And I don't. They say I graduated, but I didn't get my GED. But I got the GED, but I don't like how it happened. Like I was going to school, went to the GED programs, and I was distracted.
Mm-hmm.
I was distracted. I think I went back at like 24, 25 and tried to get it. And the people in there were just distracting me. Oh, yeah, let's do 30-second fights. All right, bet. Like it was like high school all over again. I was like, I'm not doing this shit.
Uh-huh.
I'm wasting my time. I'm not learning anything, So, like I did go to a college out west, working or going for business and administrative.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up moving back here, so it kind of held me up. But that is one thing that I've always wanted to do though, was go back to school.
Well, you got time still. There's no time limit on going back to school.
Cause I'm smart as hell. Like I'm smart. Like I love business. I love the media side of things, like business and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Lopez, multimillionaire, was my mentor for like almost a year, and showed us how to scale numbers on social media, creating sales funnels and things like that. But that's another story. Like I'm not getting into the business market, because I could really ramble. Still having books. Even cool with Eric Thomas. So I think that was. Yeah, I have
Y'all gotta do
access.
y'all homework on him.
I have access. I'm
Do
gonna just say
y'all
that now.
homework.
Like, but yeah.
Okay then. Well, y'all, this has been our mental health check-in here with Trey. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, go ahead and get you a journal. They are on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can get it at TikTok Shop as well.
Follow me, Too Much Puma. All right, my Instagram, Too Much Puma, TOO. All right. Hey, yo, go cop the journal, yo. All right, I'm gonna cop mine today, cause I support people, especially people of my kind. All
Okay.
right, that's just who I am.